All right, so what was originally a very simple thing, just get some metal sheets and cover up the hole where the garage was, kind of turned into a bit of a predicament. Because what I was hoping to do is remove these panels that are here now, so that the new stuff just goes in nice and flush right down, nice and smooth. But the trouble is they are screwed in way up in the soffit here. So in this gap, you go up about 4 inches, there's a screw, like one of these guys here, into the frame of the house. And there's no way to get it from here. And if you go into the attic, it takes a little bit of contortion of your arm to reach around, and you can't get it with a drill because it's too tight. You'd have to use a small 1/4 inch ratchet to do it. And you can see all those holes across. That's how many screws are way up in the frame. To do this, it's going to be quite a bit of work. I'll show you what I mean. I'm up here in the attic now. You can see the metal sheets as they come up. They are mounted to that piece of wood right there on the inside of this soffit. So as you can see, it's a very tight space. Can't get my drill into there to take these out. But don't know the easiest way to do it. You can see I'm pointing to one right here. Not sure if that's showing on the camera or not, but I'm gonna use a ratchet to get up around in there and going the whole length of this, because I would need to replace all of this steel so it matches. It's quite a job. Not to mention that there are wasp nests all throughout this thing, because they've been using that gap to get in here and build nests, and every year I kill them. But it'd be nice to seal that off once and for all. Okay, so I worked a piece of the panel down and ran into another issue now. So the way these J-channels, these J-trims work is there's like maybe a 2 or 3 inch space here, and it's nailed to the top frame of the building, you know, the board that goes across this way, whatever you call it. I don't have that here. So you could see I've got a wide gap where there should be a board across, where I'd be able to put a piece of J-trim in and nail it to. And that's the reason why they decided to tuck it way up there, because this board up here is what I wish I had right across here. But for whatever reason, when they built the barn originally, they put this way up here. So there's nothing to attach it to here. And if I try to fashion a piece of wood across, it's gonna stick out, you know, probably 3/4 of an inch. There's nowhere to affix it any other way. You know, it would have to be applied to the face of this piece of wood here. And that's gonna bring it out, which means that this whole wall is going to be at a weird angle if I do that. So unfortunately, that's not going to be an option. Putting the J-trim up here is not an option. Ricky is growling at that piece of metal that I threw down there because it made a big loud noise when I dropped it. He doesn't know what it is. So unfortunately, I think my only solution is going to be to not remove these panels and to well, I guess I could remove these panels. I could at least remove these ones across the top of the garage. There's not going to be any sense removing that whole wall down there. But if I move across the top of the garage, and then just the new pieces I put in, just tuck them up in like this has been. And as far as my wasp problem up there, they make a piece of closure that goes in those gaps. And it's an adhesive type, so I may just try to get some of that and see if I could just stuff it up in there. Something like the spray foam that I've used, it expands too much and it's an ugly color, and it would just sag down and look nasty, whereas this little closure strips that they make are black, and you know, you wouldn't see it up in there. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to have to do. And you can just see how, just in the process of taking that piece out, how I've bent this burgundy strip up here. Removing these things, you can see that's all bent and warped just from trying to finagle these pieces out. it would end up looking like trash. So, long explanation for something that would have been so simple, but I think that's going to be my plan. Is I will get sheets to length, tuck them up in there, and if I try to cover these ones, I think the trouble is going to be that would have to remove all of these screws. If I take all of these screws out, then I could put new pieces over top. Maybe I'll think about that. So like I'll get a couple sheets for that, and if it doesn't really match, if it doesn't look right, it's obvious, then I can look at just covering up these other bits that are here. And if I take those screws out, since they're still fastened at the top underneath that soffit, these panels shouldn't move out of place, and I should be able to just cover them up with new. I guess the other benefit of doing that is I can make my screw line nice and straight all the way across as well. Something to think about. Okay, well that's where we're at now. I got a big hole up there for now.